At the awards ceremony, the spotlight shone on the diamond ring on my left ring finger, catching the attention of all the media. The host made an insinuating inquiry, asking if I had any happy news coming soon. I lowered my head, touched the ring on my hand, and replied with a smile, yes. On the 5th of this month, soon after, Emily and John's names shot to the top of the trending topics on social media. Friends and fans all sent their congratulations. John's call came quickly. As soon as I answered, I heard his voice filled with rage roar. Emily Smith. Didn't we agree not to get married for now? What's the point of forcing a proposal in public like that? I calmly replied, your plans for marriage have nothing to do with me, and my matters with my fiancé are none of your concern either. We had been together for 13 years. But he had long since shifted his affections elsewhere, thinking I didn't know. So, it was time to put an end to this relationship. The award from the Television Association was the highest honor. When the big screen displayed the name Emily, I felt incredibly emotional after 11 years of hard work. Going from obscurity to this well-deserved recognition, under the gaze and applause of the crowd. I was invited on stage by the host. I delivered an impassioned acceptance speech and was about to leave the stage when the host stopped me. Today, I noticed a diamond ring on the middle finger of Emily, the great screenwriter's left hand. Could it be that happy news is on the way? The host's gossipy question drew everyone's attention to my left middle finger, and even the cameraman gave it a close-up. I smiled at the camera and answered, expected around the 5th of September. The host feigned surprise, widening his eyes, then offered his congratulations. After leaving the stage and returning to my seat, my phone chimed with notifications. Opening Twitter, I saw Emily and John's names immediately surge to the top of the trends. Right after, John called. His tone was full of dissatisfaction and accusation. Didn't we agree not to consider marriage for now? What was the point of forcing a proposal in public while accepting your award just now? I replied coldly, your thoughts are irrelevant to me. John paused, then let out a cold laugh, mocking me. Don't think using this tactic will force me to agree. I have my principles and won't back down. I know. I continued in a cold voice. Oh, you know. Then post on Twitter right away to clarify that our marriage plans are fake, so it doesn't affect our careers later. John immediately said. I didn't answer him and hung up. Then received congratulations from friends and fans, all celebrating that Emily and John, the star-crossed lovers, were finally uniting. We had been together since we were 17, for 13 years. Back then, we were ambitious high school students who both got into our dream media college. He studied acting, and I studied screenwriting. After graduation, we braved the entertainment industry together. I was a novice screenwriter, and he was an extra in crowd scenes. We struggled in the industry for 13 years, gradually achieving success step by step. He became the best actor, and I became the best screenwriter. Our love story was well known and hailed as the happiest couple. I had asked John before why, after all this time and at an age for marriage, he always said the timing wasn't right. But deep down, I knew the boy who once promised to love me forever had changed. I opened Twitter and composed a post. Right on target. It's you. I attached a photo of two silhouettes and posted it. Soon, netizens turned detectives deduced that the male lead in the silhouette wasn't John, and my comments section exploded. One netizen even commented, "Sis Emily, isn't your husband John?" I replied, "No." My response sent everyone into a frenzy, including John. After the awards ceremony ended, I went to the garage to drive away when John grabbed me. His eyes were bloodshot, filled with fury, and he gritted his teeth to demand, "Emily, what exactly did that Twitter post mean? How dare you betray me and marry someone else?" I looked at him coldly. At that moment, he seemed like a ridiculous clown. I answered word by word. "We broke up 6 months ago. How is that betrayal? 6 months earlier, I went to visit John on set and overheard his conversation with the new rising star Sarah Johnson outside his trailer. Sarah's voice was soft and deliberately coquettish. "John, if you invite me to your hotel room tonight to read the script, aren't you afraid your girlfriend will find out? I know you've been together for over a decade. Read the script." I knew exactly what that implied. My hand, ready to push open the door, froze midair. I was curious about John's response. John said, "Emily and I have been together for 13 years. I'm long tired of it. Besides, our personalities are too similar. As a man, how can I tolerate her coming and going at all hours? We're only using each other, helping each other succeed, and taking from each other. There's no love left." After hearing those words, my heart skipped a beat. So, he had long lost his feelings for me. It must have been so hard for him to pretend to be deeply in love with me every time we met. In fact, John's attitude towards me had shown signs of change for a long time, since he became famous. His personality had become a bit strange. I understood the pressure in the acting industry. If an actor didn't work hard, there would be countless others ready to take their place. I always tried to understand him. It turned out that he just didn't love me anymore. Instead of opening the door of the RV, I left. John couldn't be kept in the dark about my visit to the set. That night, when he came back, he started beating around the bush, asking me about it. He explained somewhat impatiently, "Emily, Sarah and I were just going over the lines. You're also a screenwriter. Don't be too sensitive. I've been shooting all day. I'm so tired. And I even had to come back specially to explain this to you." Looking at John, his face full of impatience, I suddenly realized how different this man was now. He was no longer the unknown extra he used to be. Now, he was a rising male star, sought after by major directors, with countless good resources at his disposal. "John, I'm not a naive high school student. Do you think you'll believe such an explanation?" I said tiredly. John grabbed my hand and explained, "Emily, what I said to Sarah was just for show. Her uncle is a big shot director. If he could introduce me to some good opportunities, my status in the industry would rise a lot." Status. Status. All this man cared about was fame. I pushed his hand away in disgust. My response made John unhappy. He let out a cold laugh. I said quietly, "John, we've been growing apart. I think we should take some time apart and cool off." John was stunned. Then he tried to hold back his anger. "Emily, what do you mean? Are you trying to break up with me?" "Haha, I don't think we need to cool off. Just break up right now." To be honest, when I heard his decisive tone and saw the look of disgust in his eyes, I thought maybe this relationship really should come to an end. It's better to have a short-term pain than a long-term one. I felt that my 13-year devotion had become a joke. This time, both of us proposed to break up, and we both agreed. I moved out of the home John and I shared. A few nights later, I received a call from an unknown number. Afraid it was related to work, I answered it. It was Sarah's voice. "John, you really broke up with Emily?" It was Sarah's voice. John smiled casually. "Yeah, I dumped Emily. If I didn't break up with her, how could I discuss the script with you?" "John, you're so bad. You're hurting me," Sarah said coquettishly. I knew this call was Sarah's way of deliberately provoking me. "Honey, do you know the difference between you and Emily?" John joked. "What is it?" Sarah asked. "You know how to show weakness, be obedient, and be more considerate." I didn't listen to the rest of the conversation. After hanging up the phone, I looked at myself in the mirror. I suddenly realized that maybe John didn't fall in love with someone else because of Sarah. It was just that I wasn't the kind of girl who needed a boyfriend's protection. Just as John said, our personalities were too similar. We were both very career-oriented, like two hard stones colliding. And in the end, we would only hurt each other. So, even if there wasn't a Sarah, or any other girl, it seemed that between love and career, I was more suited to focus on my career. After that, I heard some gossip about John and Sarah being in an ambiguous relationship. For example, they gave each other gifts and deliberately filmed sweet behind-the-scenes clips. Fans just thought their beloved idol was just doing it for the sake of work. Of course, I didn't care about their affairs. I buried myself in work, thinking that making money was the most important thing at the moment. We didn't contact each other for half a year. Later, I got drunk at a business dinner. The alcohol made me feel terrible, so I had to leave early, just as I called a driver to pick me up at the parking lot. I met a man. We ended up having a relationship, and he said he would be responsible for me and proposed to me on the spot. I agreed. I just didn't expect that at this awards ceremony, the host would ask such a question. Emily, are you crazy? You dared to break up with me. John's angry question pulled me back to reality. Looking at the angry John in front of me, I couldn't help but satirize and retort. Didn't you propose to break up first? Besides, why can't I break up with you? He was stunned. Maybe because he didn't expect that I would take his impulsive words seriously. Then he showed a nonchalant smile. Break up then. Don't you ever regret it. Whoever asks for reconciliation first is a dog. John took out his phone and posted a breakup statement on Weibo. Thank you all for your concern. Emily and I have been busy with our work and rarely had time to see each other. We broke up half a year ago. Although I tried to get her back, I finally respected my beloved, Miss Emily. In the past, I wished us well. From now on, I wish you well. His short statement put the blame for the breakup on me, just to maintain his image of a sincere lover. Under his post, there were all these irrational fans attacking me and comforting him. Even after the breakup, he still tried to gain some popularity. It was so disgusting. He put his hands in his pockets and looked down at me with a smug smile on his face. Emily, it's not too late for you to give in. After all, you just won a big award. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. I saw his true face more clearly. John, are you trying to reconcile with me now? Are you so eager to be the dog? Do you think you're the only man in the world? And I have to marry you? The next second, John grabbed my wrist and pinned me against the car door. I winced in pain and warned him to let me go, but he tightened his grip, as if taking revenge for our breakup. Suddenly, a tall and upright man in a suit pushed him aside and stood protectively in front of me. David Brown. John Wilson asked suspiciously, furrowing his brow angrily. This is between me and my girlfriend. Why are you interfering? David replied leisurely. Didn't you already post a breakup announcement? After saying that, he turned and walked to my side, taking my hand in his. David, what do you mean by this? John exclaimed, eyes wide with shock. David ignored him and looked at me worriedly. Emily, are you okay? Emily Smith. What's your relationship? I saw John clench his fists at his sides, gritting his teeth, glaring at me with rage. Just as John was about to explode, a group of entertainment reporters suddenly swarmed in, surrounding the three of us. And at the same time, John's expression shifted completely. The reporters bombarded me with questions. Miss Smith, is your fiancé David Brown? Miss Smith, did you and John break up normally? Or was there someone else involved? John walked over, gazing at me affectionately with a look of reluctance. Emily, I couldn't give you enough time together, and I wish you happiness. His vague words only fueled the reporters' imaginations. I tightly held David's hand and said to the cameras, as you can see, David is indeed my fiancé. John and I broke up 6 months ago. And 2 months ago, I met David and accepted his proposal. David added beside me. On September 5th, everyone is welcome to attend our wedding. The reporters tried to ask more, but David quickly opened the car door, shielded me as I got in, and then took the driver's seat to speed away. Soon, the topic newly popular top male star and ace screenwriter trended on social media. The car was so quiet we could hear each other's breathing clearly. To ease the awkwardness, I broke the silence first. So, I don't know why the host asked such a question today. It's okay, David said gently. I'm glad you made our relationship public. Although David and I were engaged, our connection wasn't deep yet. We were still relatively unfamiliar. I had always hesitated to go public because our engagement felt absurd, only wanted to take responsibility for me. And I didn't want to jeopardize his career. Thinking back to the unpleasantness with John earlier, my mood remained unsettled. People change too quickly. The man who once showered me with sweet words eventually lashed out with harsh ones. Not happy? David asked with concern. I snapped out of it, realizing the car was parked. And I nodded honestly. He raised his hand to touch the side of my face and said earnestly, "Don't let unimportant people affect your mood." Then, David cupped my chin with both hands and kissed me. The sudden kiss left me stunned. His lips tasted faintly of mint and tobacco. Gentle and tentative as he led the way, that kiss made me forget the unhappiness. My whole body softening as I slowly responded. After what felt like a long time, he reluctantly pulled away, and by then, my face was burning hot. He said softly, "Hungry? Dinner's ready upstairs." After getting out, David opened the car door for me like a gentleman. I asked in surprise, "Did you order takeout?" He took my hand and said, "I made it myself." I looked at him in amazement. "You can cook?" David smiled. "Emily, I'm a great cook." I couldn't believe a top male star actually knew how to cook. "Don't believe me?" David teased. Noticing my doubt, I shook my head with a laugh. "It's just unexpected." He chuckled. "Emily, I have many surprises you don't know about." "It's fine. We have plenty of time for you to learn." This was David's home. A large penthouse in the downtown CBD, with a balcony offering a panoramic view of the city's skyscrapers. Though I had accepted David's proposal, we were both busy with our careers and rarely met. David asked me to move in with him, but I refused at first. He argued that as future spouses, we needed time to get to know each other, and I agreed it made sense. So today was my first day moving in. Honestly, my feelings were complicated. Even after breaking up with John and seeing his true colors, I still reminisced about our past. Whenever I asked John about marriage before, he always brushed it off with work excuses. Actually, he just didn't want to marry me anymore. Seeing the table full of dishes I loved, I looked at him in surprise. He smiled and explained, "Knowing the preferences of my future wife is a husband's duty." I couldn't help but laugh. It was the first time I felt this man was reliable. Although we both worked in the entertainment industry, we had never crossed paths before. I had only seen his TV shows and interview programs, and he was very popular. I'd inevitably heard about him over the years. He wasn't formally trained, came from a well-off family, had never been involved in tabloid scandals, and maintained a spotless image. He refused to do kissing scenes in films, and my friends joked that he entered the entertainment world just to experience life. He raised his wine glass. "Emily Smith, congratulations on winning Best Screenwriter." "Thank you," I said, lifting my glass to clink with his before we both drank it down. After a few glasses of red wine, I started feeling tipsy, looking at the man before me, wearing a white shirt with finely chiseled features, the soft light accentuating his fit physique as he carefully cut my steak. I had to admit a man focused on his task was incredibly handsome. Maybe it was the alcohol, but my gaze grew bold. "Emily, do you know you shouldn't stare at a man like that?" David Brown suddenly said. My face flushed instantly, and I quickly averted my eyes. "Sorry." He gripped my wrist, pulled me up, sat me on his lap, and wrapped his arms around my waist. "What I mean is, when you look at me like that, I can't hold back," he murmured, lowering his voice deliberately. My cheeks burned hot. Seeing his intense expression, a playful impulse rose in me. Boldly, I looped my arms around his and said with a laugh, "Then what do you do when you can't hold back during filming?" He replied. It depends on who it is. The actresses I work with are just colleagues. But you, my fiancé? He asked softly. My fiancé. Did you enjoy the meal I cooked? Huh? Yes. It was delicious, I said, staring at him blankly. Are you full? I'm full. I didn't know why David was suddenly asking such questions. But after I answered, he gave me the reason. Since Emily likes it, shouldn't you reward me? David scooped me up horizontally and headed straight for the bedroom. By the time I realized what was happening, I was already on the bed with him pressing down on me. I pushed against his chest with both hands. Stop. I haven't showered yet. I thought he'd let go. But he said. Then we'll shower together. And just like that, our second time was in the huge bathtub, fueled by alcohol. We made love passionately in the water until I was exhausted, slumped over the edge, breathing heavily. I watched David, who looked completely unsatisfied and unaffected. He moved closer, his hand reaching through the warm water to encircle my waist and pull me into his embrace. Leaning on his shoulder, I gazed at his handsome face and couldn't resist kissing his cheek. The next second, I regretted it and quickly stopped him. Don't. David frowned. Emily, you started this. But this is a bathtub. I reminded him urgently. Hearing that, he stood up quickly. I sighed in relief instinctively. But then he grabbed a large towel, pulled me out of the tub, and wrapped it around me. You're right. The tub is limiting us, let's move somewhere else. He whispered in my ear. That wasn't what I meant at all. He completely misunderstood. David placed me gently on the bed like a precious treasure, leaned over me, and asked, Are you happy? Happy. Honestly. Of course I was. But I didn't want to hide it. I nodded shyly. Then will you marry me? He suddenly asked. I was puzzled. Didn't you ask me that before? He replied. But now, I want to hear your answer again. Emily, tell me, please. I looked into his eyes sincerely and answered word by word. David, I, Emily Smith, am willing to marry you. Absolutely no regrets. Hearing my answer, David was extremely pleased and pressed down on me again. This time, he whispered I love you over and over in my ear until late into the night. When I finally fell asleep exhausted in his arms, when I woke up, it was already noon the next day. My whole body felt like it had fallen apart, weak and sore, and no one was beside me. Awake, David entered the room, walked over, and said, I'll carry you to freshen up. Last night was too wild, and I quickly refused. I can handle it myself. He smiled and nodded. Okay, I'm cooking porridge. It will be ready to eat soon. After saying that, he got up and left the room. I washed up as fast as I could and came out of the bedroom. David Brown was still in the kitchen cooking porridge. I sat nervously on the sofa and saw a photo frame placed upside down on the coffee table. So I wanted to fix it. When I picked up the photo frame, I froze because the subject of the photo was none other than me. In the picture, I had my hair in a high ponytail, holding a microphone, smiling, and radiating confidence. I remembered this was from a national recitation competition I participated in during my sophomore year of high school. But how did David have my photo? Emily Smith. Time to eat, David said as he brought out the porridge. I couldn't put down the photo in my hand and turned to look at him. I thought I needed an explanation. When David and I locked eyes, he noticed the photo in my hand, and the smile faded from his face. After setting the porridge down, he walked up to me. My secret has been discovered by you, he said softly, gazing at me affectionately. I looked at him puzzled. Secret? What secret? He clasped my hands tightly. 15 years ago, I fell in love with you at first sight. What? I widened my eyes in disbelief. But I had never known David before. 15 years ago, you went to that national recitation competition. You stood on stage speaking eloquently, full of confidence. And I fell for that smiling girl. My cousin was in your school, so I got news about you from her. High school studies were busy, and I didn't dare disturb you. But I kept watching you silently. For college, I enrolled near your high school, planning to confess after you graduated. But in your senior year, you got a boyfriend. I saw John Wilson treated you well, and I didn't want to interfere. So I went abroad for further studies. 2 years ago, when I heard your relationship with John was unstable, I returned home, wanting a chance. But you hadn't broken up then, so I decided to enter your circle by becoming an actor to get your attention. I waited almost 15 years. And finally, when you broke up, I could openly pursue you. After hearing this story, I was completely stunned, never imagining David and I had such a connection. So, our first meeting, I thought about it and pressed. He replied, "That person at the business dinner drugged your drink." So that was it. Actually, I have a high tolerance for alcohol. But that day I felt feverish and uncomfortable after just one glass. No wonder I got drunk so fast. A few days later, that person was jailed for tax evasion. David wrapped his arms around my waist, looking down at me. "Emily, since you didn't notice me, I became a shining star so your gaze would stay on me." Seeing his sincere expression, I thought of John who had changed his heart. When men offer their true feelings, it's always like this. I should question David's sincerity. But for some reason, my heart told me I wanted to believe in love again. "Tonight, I have a press conference for my new show. Can you come with me? As my fiancé?" he said earnestly. I smiled. "If I refuse, would you feel bad?" He shook his head with a smile. "No, because in my heart, your thoughts matter most." The difference between David and John is that David asks for my opinion and respects my decisions, while John, after achieving success, started giving orders instead of listening. Seeing David's honesty, how could I bear to refuse him? "David, big star, I'm honored to attend the event as your fiancé," I answered with a smile. He seemed surprised, maybe not expecting my answer, then chuckled softly, pulled me into his arms, and whispered in my ear, "Emily, meeting you is my honor, and being with you is a blessing from heaven." "Emily, thank you." I could feel the sincerity in his heart. I smiled. "David, I'm glad I got to know you too." David starred as the male lead in the new show New Era, a major business drama centered on a male protagonist, with a strong production team and experienced, talented actors. Everyone had high hopes for it. When David and I arrived at the press conference, many people were already there, including the main director, Sarah Johnson, whom I knew. Sarah Johnson walked over, smiling. "David, Emily, congratulations to you both." After that, many others came to congratulate us. The press conference began, and I sat in the front row of the audience, watching David at center stage as he introduced the show. At the end of the conference, it was time for the Q&A session. Entertainment reporters asked David, "Mr. David, we know you're getting married soon. Where will your focus be in the coming period?" "Today, I have an announcement to make," David said suddenly. Seeing his serious expression, everyone present, including me, grew curious. David said, "Starting today, I announce my retirement from the entertainment industry." As soon as these words were spoken, a wave of murmurs swept through the room. Clearly, this matter had caught everyone off guard. Entertainment reporters, sensing the scent of gossip, immediately began firing questions. "Mr. David Brown, why are you leaving the entertainment industry? You're currently at the peak of your career. After this drama airs, endless opportunities will come your way. What made you suddenly decide this?" "Mr. David Brown, we all want to know the reason for your departure." David's gaze settled firmly on me as he answered seriously. "I entered this industry for one person, and now, I have her." The moment he finished speaking, all eyes turned towards me. I stood frozen in shock, completely unprepared for his decision. Then, David strode purposefully towards me, knelt on one knee, produced a ring box seemingly out of nowhere, and opened it right there in front of everyone. "Ms. Emily Smith, will you marry me?" he asked, looking directly at me, overwhelmed with emotion and a touch of confusion. Tears welled up in my eyes. I whispered, "Didn't you already propose?" "This time, I want to propose to you in front of everyone," he stated. His eyes filled with deep affection and sincerity. "I want the world to know you are my one and only." I smiled, nodded, and extended my hand. Suddenly, I remembered why he had insisted I take off my ring before leaving home that morning. David slid the ring onto my finger. This one had a diamond far larger and more brilliant than the last. Then, he gently kissed the back of my hand, helping him stand. I looked up into his eyes. "David Brown, I love you." "Emily Smith, I love you very much," David replied before cupping my chin and kissing me. Unsurprisingly, we instantly became trending topics. After the press conference, I planned to swing by my place to grab some clothes. On the way there, I scrolled through the comments on Weibo, a mix of good and bad. "Don't you regret leaving the industry for me?" I asked, my heart aching. Like the reporters said, this drama would have opened the floodgates to endless opportunities for him. "I entered the entertainment world because of you," he answered earnestly. "I didn't want anything else to change that purpose. Now that I have you, I can't be greedy enough to want more." Still feeling a pang of guilt, he added, "Besides, I need to go back and run the family company." I was speechless. Since I was only grabbing a few items, I asked David to wait in the car. After packing quickly, I opened the door to leave, only to find John Wilson suddenly emerging from the stairwell. His appearance startled me, but I intended to ignore him completely and headed for the elevator. John grabbed my wrist, blocking my path. "Emily Smith, where are you going with that luggage?" he demanded angrily. "None of your business." "Let go," I replied coldly, my voice calm. "He didn't release me." "Are you really with David Brown? Haven't you seen Weibo? Could it be fake?" I shot back, pulling my hand free. John gave a derisive smirk, staring intently at me. "Emily Smith, I never said I wouldn't marry you. You couldn't just wait to get married, so you settled for the first guy you found." His words, yet again, astonished me. "We broke up a long time ago. Who I marry is none of your concern," I reminded him. "I'm sorry, Emily. I was impulsive just now." John's attitude suddenly shifted to one of humility. "Emily, I just think, if you want to get married, you shouldn't just settle for anyone. I'll marry you." "Okay. Just tell the reporters you and David were faking it." Testing my sincerity. "Marry me. Okay." Looking at his shameless expression, I wanted to slap him, but I restrained myself. "John Wilson, David isn't just anyone. He is the man I've carefully considered and chosen to marry," I explained with quiet conviction. Hearing this, John's mood turned volatile. He pinned me hard against the wall, looking down at me with fury. "Emily Smith, did you hook up with David long ago? Is that why you broke up with me?" He spat through gritted teeth. "John Wilson, are you insane? Do you even hear what you're saying?" I stared at him incredulously, struggling to control my anger. John let out a cold laugh. "You're angry. I hit the mark, didn't I? We argued and broke up before, but you never accepted it. Why did you agree so quickly this time? You must have wanted to break up all along, just so you could be with him." John Wilson and I were long past being in the same world. Explaining felt pointless. "Think whatever you want," I replied flatly. "Fine. So you admit it." John snarled, his teeth clenched. "You're my woman." Seeing he intended to force himself on me, I resisted instantly. "John Wilson, I swear I'll call the police." "What's wrong with kissing my own girlfriend?" John retorted, tightening his grip on my wrists. I fought desperately to break free and avoid his touch. "John, let go of me." Just as John Wilson was about to succeed, A fist struck his cheek, and he fell to the ground. I looked and saw it was David Brown. I quickly ran behind him. David glared darkly, staring intently at John. If you don't cherish what you have, someone else will. John, lying on the ground with a trace of blood at the corner of his mouth, looked at David with hatred, then shifted his gaze to me. Emily Smith, are you sure hell always liked you? I tightened my grip on David's hand. He has liked me for 15 years. Longer than you ever did. John was clearly stunned and curled his lips disdainfully. Fine. Fine. Just don't regret it later. I smiled. I won't regret it because I trust David Brown. John fell completely silent. Before David led me away, he said to John, "You bullied my fiancée. I won't let this slide." Back in the car, I asked, "Why did you come upstairs?" David replied, "I was worried when you didn't come down for so long. Emily, I'm not like John. I'll treat you well and cherish you." I answered with a smile. "If you ever betray me, I'll leave you without hesitation." He hugged me and whispered a promise in my ear. "I'll never give you a reason to leave me." Later, I learned that David Brown was actually the heir to the famous Brown Group. A true young master. On September 5th, it was my wedding day with David. The ceremony was lavish, attended not only by many partners of the Brown Group but also by close friends from the entertainment industry. I just didn't expect John to show up. Honestly, I feared he might cause trouble at the wedding. But David said since he was a guest, he should be treated as one. David was my sense of security. During my wedding preparations, I paused work, but through friends, I heard about John. News broke of him entering a hotel late at night with Sarah Johnson, causing his reputation to plummet. But that had nothing to do with me anymore. David and I walked into the marriage hall together, under the officiant's witness and amid blessings from family and friends. We exchanged vows and rings, then drank the ceremonial wine. After the ceremony, all guests began dining. I changed clothes in the dressing room and came out to see John. He looked unusually haggard, lacking his former glory. I whispered a reminder. "John, today is my big day." "I know." John interrupted before I could finish. "I'm leaving. But I came to wish you well, Emily. If I hadn't lost control back then, I'd be your groom today." He sighed deeply with regret. I curled my lips. "There are no ifs in this world. Even if time reversed, you'd make the same choice." John looked ashamed and lowered his head. "Emily, I wish you happiness. Stay for the meal," I said. John shook his head. "No, I have things to do." With that, he turned and left. I watched his retreating figure, feeling completely at peace and no longer hating him. 7 days after the wedding, I saw on the news that John had been imprisoned for tax evasion. The once popular actor from the South instantly fell from grace, reduced to just a number. After marrying David, we honeymooned in the Maldives. Then I returned to work. Soon, my new play Red Rose was about to premiere. Red Rose tells the story of a female protagonist who falls into an abyss because of love, then awakens and finds new life. As women, we can believe in love but shouldn't be obsessed with it. We must have boundaries in our hearts. And I hope all women find beautiful, uplifting love. Over 3 years, I became an internationally renowned playwright, with many directors discussing collaborations with me. One day after work, David cooked my favorite meal to reward my hard work. He raised a glass of red wine. I smiled and declined. "I can't drink for the next 2 years. David looked at me worriedly. "Are you sick?" I gently touched my stomach. "Congratulations. You're going to be a dad." David was overjoyed, acting like a child. From then on, our world for two would welcome a family of 3.